The corridor to the execution chamber smells like bleach and metal. Elena Cruz, hair cropped short and skin pale under flickering fluorescent lights, walks in slow, deliberate steps, shackled at her ankles and wrists. The guards don't look at her, not out of contempt, but guilt. Everyone knows something's wrong, but no one speaks. She's been branded a killer. Not of an enemy, but of her commanding officer, Colonel Blake Thornton. Outside, the media calls her the fallen hero. Inside, the silence is heavier than bars. The day Elena was arrested, her entire life collapsed, medals stripped, comrades silent, her military dog Echo taken by force from her side. She remembers that moment more vividly than the trial, Echo barking, lunging toward her as men in black dragged him away. No one listened when she said she was innocent. No one listened when she said Thornton was hiding something. In her cell, Elena writes letters she never sends. To Echo. To her father, Luis Cruz. To the comrades who abandoned her. But mostly to herself, pieces of memory she tries to stitch together. What happened that night in the command tent? One flash of anger, then a gunshot. Blood. Screams. And her on her knees, weapon untouched, but judged before she could speak. Across the country, Luis Cruz sits in a cluttered room filled with maps, reports, and photographs. A former intelligence officer now dismissed as paranoid, he hasn't stopped working since the arrest. Racked with guilt for not being present in Elena's life, he now clings to the one thing he can still do, uncover the truth. With him is Agent Darnell Pike, a man of few words but deep conviction, and Nina Hale, Elena's former medic, who believes her captain would never pull a trigger in cold blood. Luis taps into old networks. He bribes, hacks cross-references. Months of silence break when he uncovers an account under Colonel Thornton's name, stuffed with transfers from a phantom logistics company. A deep dig reveals its real owner, Major Axel Brandt. A name Luis knows too well. A man once protected by the system, now hiding behind false identities and private mercenaries. Meanwhile, Elena dreams of Echo. In the darkness of her cell, she sees him running toward her, his vest catching the desert sun, his eyes full of warning. She wakes with tears on her cheeks. She doesn't know he's alive, kept in a remote kennel, aging, waiting. As the execution date nears, tension rises. Luis finally breaks protocol and contacts General Marcus Ellison, a high-ranking officer known for his sense of justice. But Ellison is skeptical. "I need proof," he says. "Not hope." Luis swears he'll find it. Nina, now in hiding after being followed, vows to retrieve more intel. Pike warns them, "Brent knows we're close. We don't have time." Back in her final days, Elena is allowed one visitor. She expects no one. But the door opens and Luis enters. For a moment, they just stare at each other. Two stubborn hearts broken by years of silence. He places his hand on the glass. "I'm not here to say sorry," he says. "I'm here to get you out." Her voice cracks. "Then you better hurry." Fade to black. The countdown has begun. Rain lashes against the windshield as the old Jeep barrels through the mountain road. Luis grips the wheel, eyes narrowed, jaw clenched. In the back seat, a battered military case holds a hard drive, the final piece of proof connecting Major Axel Brandt to the embezzlement ring and the murder of Colonel Thornton. Darnell Pike sits shotgun, pistol loaded, scanning the treeline. They are not just carrying evidence, they are being hunted. Back at the safe house, Nina Hale stitches her own wound in the dim light of a bathroom mirror. Her shoulder bleeds through a makeshift bandage, courtesy of a close encounter with one of Brandt's mercenaries. She's bruised, exhausted, but alive and angry. She's found files, logs, documents. Enough to bury Brandt. But if they don't get the evidence to General Ellison in time, Elena dies. Echo, the Belgian Malinois, sits beside her, head tilted, ears perked. His eyes never leave the front door. He senses what's coming long before it happens. The attack is swift. SUVs screech to a halt outside. Black-clad figures burst in, silent and lethal. Nina grabs a flash drive, shoves it into Echo's vest, and opens the rear window. "Find Luis." "Go!" Echo hesitates only a second before leaping into the night. Inside, the firefight begins. Luis gets the call as they're crossing the state line. A coded phrase from Nina, the storm has reached the cabin. Pike curses. Luis floors the gas. She's buying us time, he says. Oh, we can't waste it. At dawn, they meet Echo by an abandoned ranger station. The dog's paws are bleeding, his coat muddy, but the flash drive is intact. Pike kneels, checking Echo's eyes. He never lost her scent, he says quietly. Luis can't speak, he just hugs the dog. The files are real. Signed orders, offshore transfers, encrypted emails from Brandt to foreign agents. Ellison receives the full dossier via secure drop. He doesn't respond with words, he mobilizes an internal task force. Brandt panics. He launches a final offensive. Hired men tell Luis. Pike's apartment is burned to the ground. Nina goes dark. Then, a voice on the radio. Elena from her cell. I heard something. They're rushing it. I have less than 24 hours. Luis looks at Echo. We need to get to Ellison directly. At the army base, Ellison prepares to speak before the review board. Pike and Luis sneak in through the back with Echo, the dog carrying the final encrypted file in his vest. Just before the hearing begins, Echo trots to the general, sits and waits. Ellison reads the name tag on the vest, property of Captain Elena Cruz. He opens the file. Silence. Then fury. The arrest Brandt. Now. Gunshots ring out in the distance. Brandt has tried to flee the compound. But he never makes it past the gates. As sirens wail, Luis calls Elena. It's over. You're coming home. The return. The sun has never looked this bright through prison bars. Elena Cruz stands in the hallway of the military detention center, wrists unchained for the first time in years. Her body still holds the tension of captivity, shoulders tight, eyes guarded. She barely breathes as the warden hands her a folded piece of paper. You're free. No applause. No camera flashes. Just a silent guard nodding and the slow creak of the gate opening. She steps through like someone walking into a dream she hasn't dared to believe in. Outside, Luis waits beside a parked car, face aged by guilt and sleepless nights, his hands trembling as he sees her. They say nothing at first. Then he opens the passenger door. She climbs in. Her knees buckle slightly, she hasn't walked without chains in so long. I didn't think I'd see you, she murmurs. I never stopped looking, he replies. His voice breaks. Never. They drive. Trees blur by. Radio off. No music, just the soft rhythm of the tires over cracked pavement. She watches her reflection in the window, unfamiliar. The uniform gone. Her rank gone. But something inside her flickers, like the ember of a fire once thought extinguished. They arrive at a small cabin on the outskirts of town. Inside, Echo is waiting. The moment their eyes meet, the dog bolts across the room, nails skittering on the wood floor. Elena kneels. Echo crashes into her chest with a low, aching whine, the sound of years apart, of stolen time. She buries her face in his fur, sobbing, her arms wrapped tightly around the only soul who never doubted her. Luis turns away, letting them have that moment. The next morning, General Ellison visits. He removes his cap at the door, not out of protocol, but respect. He hands Elena a letter stamped with a government seal. She opens it with trembling hands. Honorable discharge revoked. Full pardon issued. Rank and honors restored. But the paper feels cold. I don't want the uniform back, she says quietly. Not after what it did to me. Ellison nods. Then take back your name. That's all I came to return. She watches him leave. For the first time in years, no bars, no guards, no verdict hanging over her. Just the wind through the trees and the soft breath of a dog sleeping by her feet. Later that week, she stands in front of a rundown VA building, shuttered, forgotten, left to rot. Nina is beside her, arm in a sling, but smiling. Pike leans on a crutch, nodding toward the entrance. A new sign leans against the wall, freshly painted. The Echo Center for Veterans by Veterans. Inside, volunteers move cots and paint walls. Luis coordinates with architects. Echo follows Elena from room to room like a shadow, occasionally nuzzling a nervous former soldier's hand. His presence calms them. His scars are visible like theirs. On opening day, dozens arrive. Some in wheelchairs. Some alone. Some with their service dogs. Elena speaks at the podium, voice steady. They took everything from me, she says. My rank. My voice. My freedom. But they couldn't take truth. They couldn't take Echo. And they couldn't take away the fire that kept me alive. This place is for every soul they tried to silence. Applause rises. Real this time. Months pass. The center thrives. Echo becomes a therapy dog, sleeping beside veterans with nightmares, guiding amputees down hallways, licking away the tears of those who think they can't go on. One night, Elena sits on the porch, watching the stars. Luis brings her tea. He sits beside her. Do you miss it? The army? She shakes her head. No. I miss believing it stood for something. He places a hand on hers. Now it does again. Because of you. In the distance, a young vet laughs inside the center. Echo barks, tail wagging. Elena smiles, a real smile. Not one forced by protocol or survival. One earned. They tried to kill her story. But the fire never went out. It simply waited silent, steady for its return. Elena Cruz did more than just regain her freedom, she reignited hope for all those silenced and forgotten. Her fight is not just hers alone, it belongs to every veteran left behind, every voice stifled by injustice, and every wounded soul seeking truth and recognition. Through pain, betrayal, and fear, she proved that truth will always prevail. Today, Elena's story reminds us that justice is not a privilege, but a fundamental right. If you know a veteran in need, if you believe every voice deserves to be heard, join us. Support organizations that stand with our veterans, speak out for truth in your communities, and never let silence drown out courage. Because sometimes, changing the world begins with a single voice refusing to be silent.